Part of the benefit of having your data stored in a relational database is that it becomes very easy to ask a wide variety of questions about your data. That is, as long as the data structure is well considered. One of the ways to ensure that the database remains flexible in the types of questions that you can ask is by making the fields as descriptive and specific as possible. A side effect of this effort is that the fields also become quite short and to the point. Here's a typical example of how our customer data might be stored in a spreadsheet. In the customers table, we're currently storing the name of the customer and their billing address. And once again, we have a storage structure that works perfectly fine for our immediate business need. Given this information, we would be able to process a customer's credit card since we have the billing address stored and easily accessible. What is being lost is any future or alternate use of this information outside of billing a credit card. For instance, what if we decided we want to compile a report of all of our customers that come from the same state? Given the current setup, we would have to comb through the address field to determine what state they were in. In computer terms, we would need to parse the text included in the address field to determine each customer's state. We could say that the state is indicated by the 2 characters before the second comma or some other such rule, but it might not always work out. For instance, if there was an apartment or floor number in between the street and city elements, then our comma trick probably wouldn't work consistently. Columns like our billing address column are known as multi-part fields, as they try and stuff multiple data elements into a single space. They're notoriously difficult for the database management system to work with. With this in mind, we're looking to identify and reconfigure any fields that contain pieces of information that can be broken into smaller chunks. The solution to our address problem is to simply break the long values into its smaller components. Billing address easily separates into city, street, state, and zip code columns. Now looking for everyone in the same state requires a DBMS to simply look for the proper abbreviation in the state column, without any complicated parsing rules to deal with. Here's another consideration. We are now storing the street address as both a house or building number and the name of the street that it's on. Is this a multi-valued field that needs to be broken down further? The answer to that depends on your business needs. It is, in fact, a multi-valued field, since after all, it's storing multiple data elements. The real question is this a problem? For our business case, we're unlikely to need to group customers based on the street that they're on. And it's also not likely that we'd want a listing of all the customers from around the country whose building number happened to be the same. In our case, this is probably just fine to leave the building number and street together. It simplifies the database structure just a bit without causing any real business concerns. But if we were running a utility company, it would conceivably make sense that we would want to target customers at the street level. Say we were doing maintenance on a water main and wanted to let everyone on a specific street know that we'd be shutting the water off temporarily. In this case, we would want the ability to find street names separate from the building number. It all comes down to knowing the specific needs of the organization. One last example that occurs all the time. When storing proper names, such as we have in our employees table, the initial approach is to have a single field for the individual person's name. This might solve the immediate need of wanting to find out which employee assisted on a particular sale or gathering information on salaries. But there are all kinds of ways that names are used in an organization. We'll need their last name to sort alphabetically by a company directory, and we'll also need their first name for use in business letters. And we might take some combination of characters from the first and last name to generate a standardized company email address. If the name field is stored as a single large string of characters, this becomes difficult to accomplish. But as we've just seen, the simple solution is to break it into its components. Now that we are storing the data as separated first name and last names, we can easily accommodate the previous examples and more. In the next movie, we'll see how we can recombine the first name and last name fields using text manipulation techniques. By splitting the data into multiple fields, we've lost nothing and gained a lot of flexibility in how we present the information to accommodate a wide variety of current and future use cases.